back, Transfer TCG fans. This is Grillenheimer. Thanks for being here. Thanks for following. Thanks for the views. Thanks for the likes when y'all decide to throw scraplets at that like button. So going to about a couple of more base cards here. Going about three base cards. We ended with Paradron last time. Okay, so up next is going to be the Solar Needle. Now, before we move on, I have tried recording this multiple times. That's why this may not drop on Thursday. It is already Thursday. I'm going to go through this as quick as we can. All three of these are going to be Decepticon faction cards. One is also going to be an Autobot card. But because I have changed and changed and changed, and every time I change something on the card, I have to put it in Paint 3D and redo it all over again. You know, put the base card sticker, etc., etc., a little touch up. So, the Solar Needle is aggressive on the flip. It is orange and green. The Decepticons can get this on the swap after battle to help you get this into play if you want. So, Decepticons are each going to have Pierce 1 for turn. Each Autobot has Oppress Tough 1 for battle. When a player scraps an upgrade from one of their own characters, do 1 damage to an untapped enemy. So, this can't happen from your opponent. Whoever's the active player while the Solar Needle is in play, you may have played this, but if your opponent actually happens to have swapping out a utility for a utility, they're going to end up hitting one of your characters if they are untapped. Okay, same goes with you. These go across both sides of the table. Always remember that. You have Decepticons, they have Decepticons. They all get Pierce 1 for turn. You have Autobots, they have an Autobot. You're oppressing 1 flip on the tough for the defense. So it doesn't matter. So there's 3 facets to this base card. Originally, that extra part about the upgrades doing 1 damage to untapped enemies wasn't there. And I just felt like the Solar Needle needed a little something else. So, you know, similar to the Solar Power Station, when we go back and look at that, while a character has a weapon, armor, and utility equipped, the player's chosen attacker has bold 2 for battle. Maybe it should be for turn, but I have just for battle right there. So every time it battles, it's going to have bold 2. So even for, you know, that probably should be for turn, but I'm leaving it as it is. So, and originally I thought about doing something similar to that with the Solar Needle, but giving it Pierce instead. Actually, that was my initial thought, and I was thinking about this last night, and I'm like, let's do non-attack damage, but let's do it when you scrap one of your own upgrades. Okay, so there's that. And then Tar Pits is also an aggressive on the flip, another Decepticon card. This is a Decepticon card, and it can be an Autobot card. So again, if Wizards went on and went to a Wave 6 maybe, and they started doing some funky things with traits like I've been doing with base cards, you know, per se, then they could have forced us to really try to find not just the Decepticon version of, I don't know, the squirt gun or the gut gun or something to that effect. Well, then it might also have you know, do something for another faction, and so it could either be a half faction, a dual faction on the background of the card, or it could have one of each. And so you're like, oh gosh, I want both of these. And so you're buying boosters and boxes just to be able to get both versions of that card. If you're wanting, you see where I'm going with that. But that's all for naught anyway. So the Tar Pits is black and green. Again, Decepticons can get this on the flip off the swap for battle. Each Decepticon has Pierce 2 for battle. Not just Pierce 1, but Pierce 2. After a Dinobot defends, scrap an upgrade from the attacking enemy. So this is because, you know, the Dinobots are in the Tar Pits. They were sinking. I think they just finally burned it all off, and they were able to get out. But it was a neat old version episode for its time. So the Dinobots originally were Autobots. It's an Autobot trait. Now, I have used the Dinobot trait for some of my Maximals and Predacons when I did the Beast Wars. Otherwise, the Dinobot trait is not really used anywhere else. And since it is specifically Autobots originally, it's also an Autobot card. So that's why there's an Autobot card, because faction version of this, because of the Dinobot trait. But after one of them defends, scrap an upgrade from the attacking enemy. Yeah, I'm a broken record. I apologize. So, and I got to thinking, I was looking at some official characters, and there's like a 6-star swoop, and I think there's a wind sweeper, and then you can use someone else. I think that's what, for them, that's like 15 stars right there, like 6 and 9 or something like that. So if you used another plane and utilize Windsweeper's moving counters or moving damage, and swoops also moving or using a non-attack damage as well, or even somebody else, a plane that can do something similar. And I forgot who that character was. It Thundercracker? Because I looked at 3 official characters in the app. I still have the app. And that's how that has really helped me in making some of these cards in some ways. So, you could, there's 3 characters right there with the 25 star limit, if that's all you're going for, is keeping within that limit. If not, who knows what you could do with something like this. But either way, it's going to affect your Decepticons, give them Pierce 2. And if you force and have that Blue Pip Brave card, and they're going to force them into your Dinobot, then, yeah, whoever is attacking your Dinobot, and luckily, the word is after a Dinobot defends. So they're going to be able to, whoever is attacking a Dinobot, whether it's you attacking one of theirs or they're attacking yours, they're going to be able to get you. They're going to be able to use that upgrade. So they'll be able to get to use that upgrade, and as long as it's an aggressive upgrade for brass knuckles or whatever, before it gets scrapped. Now, of course, if it's something like a grenade launcher, fusion borer, those are going to be scrapped. Okay, so there's that. And so, and going back to Solar Needle with that in play, if you are playing, if you have the Solar Needle in play, and you did attack somebody with a fusion borer or a grenade launcher, well, that's going to get scrapped after battle. Is that going to allow you to do 1 damage to an untapped enemy? No, not really, because the upgrade is scrapping itself. It's telling you to scrap it. You're not scrapping it on purpose with another upgrade or something along those lines. So if I had put the text on the Solar Needle, when an upgrade is scrapped, then do 1 damage to an untapped enemy, that would be different. But that's not how the Solar Needle works. You're going to have to scrap the upgrade yourself in some sort of way. So yeah, that's how that Solar Needle is going to work. Unless I reword it, and I don't think I'm going to. So basically, have some upgrades that you like that do not get self-scrapped, to where you can scrap them on your own with other upgrades. So you might want to have a deck that where you have a lot of interesting different little cards, and they're not just upgrades that, well, that is a good question. So, well, what if I do have 3 attack drones on my character, and I swap out those 3 attack drones get scrapped because I put a flamethrower on my character, and then those 3 get scrapped? Do I get 3 to do 3 damage to an untapped enemy? Yeah, because I have unupgrade. When a player scraps unupgrade from one of their own characters, so it may be emptying the whole slot of weapons, or all 3 weapons in that one slot, then yeah, there's going to be 3 different upgrades that are being scrapped that you are doing yourself. So yes, the Solar Needle is going to do that. So that is pretty big. there's going to be, you know, a lot of some setup there. You may not like it, but it's going to have nice payoff if you do something like that. So, but let's keep going on. Running out of time, so let's move on to Time Warp, which is white and green. Again, Decepticon faction card. Only the Decepticons can get this on the flip. At the start of turn, each player removes an equipped upgrade from a character and put it in their hand. So it's not scrapping upgrades, but it is taking upgrades off one of your characters and your opponent. Both of y'all are having to do that. So if you don't have any upgrades on your characters, then it's not going to do anything for you or even your opponent, especially if this is played early in the game. So there's something definitely to play middle of the game, not at the very beginning. So again, kind of one of those Russian roulette cards that's a little better for the defense. It's for your Decepticons are going to get tough 1 for battle. So hope it doesn't get knocked out or anything. Make sure you have like a the hold the bridge secret action that I've made to help keep it in play from being knocked out from one of your opponent's base cards, etc., or just simply being knocked out with any other card. Each Autobot has Oppress Bold 1. So definitely you're going to be wanting to play this with a Decepticon team for sure. And again, I didn't put the each Autobot, each Decepticon verbiage on the top. I wanted at the start of turn on the top. So, you know, at the start of turn, I want really that to be prevalent. So that's the first line. And then after that, each Autobot has Oppressed Bold 1. You know, if you have Bold 3, Bold 2, Bold 2, you're going to only be able to flip 1, not 2. Autobot is attacking. The player has played a supercharge or something. No, they're not going to get that Bold 3. They're going to get Bold 2 off of it. You know, when we've gone over this before, not hard to understand. But that's really all I have time for, to be able to go through Solar Needle, Tar Pits, and Time Warp. We did take a glance at the Solar Power Station again. And at the same time, I could have used Time Warp in a different way, because I have thought about bringing back. Now, remember a couple of years back, 2.5 years ago, when I originally had come up with this idea before I even knew about zone cards or whoever did those, Energon Hustlers, Bayform, or somebody. So, and I'll put Nebulos back up there again like I did last episode. So, did I do that? Or was it? Maybe not. Anyway, let's keep going. So, I've thought about, originally I had, when I was making these the Battlefield cards through my phone thingy, they looked pretty bad. They didn't look very official, but I was still making them, and I was putting them out on the Facebook custom board for the fun of it. And people were like, "What are you doing? Use this. Use the Magic Set Editor." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." So, long story short, yeah, too late. When I was using Battlefield cards, I also had a card that was like a Space Bridge or something. I forgot the name of it. That allowed 2 base cards to be in play at the same time. So when one is played, the other base card Battlefield card wasn't being knocked out. And after a couple of trial runs and some mock games and whatnot, I thought this seems too strong. With Time Warp, I could have done this. And I'm thinking, still playing around with the idea that maybe that can happen. But it may not be able to where you can play 2 base cards, have 2 of your own going on at the same time. No, I may not allow that, but I may allow it to where you can't, if you play one and your opponent has one already in play, that your opponent's base card doesn't get scrapped. So at the same time, having 2 of these base cards in play at the same time might cancel some stuff. If one of them is giving Pierce for how many upgrades or something are on a character or whatever, and then you have another one that says, Autobots no longer have Pierce. I thought I had a quickie that I could find that actually, there it was, Paradron, where Paradron, each Autobot can't have Pierce for battle. So while you may have one base card that, allows Pierce to be built up in some way or another, but you also, theirs is in play, you put in Paradron, now Autobots don't have Pierce anymore. At the same time, while the other one is gearing up Pierce in other ways. Or even have something like Goo and the empty Wilhelm, and the experimental research lab in at the same time. So not only you got a lot of things going on with Pierce in not being able to flip, tough one, etc. for Decepticons with the experimental research lab. If you're upgrading your Decepticons, then you're going to be able to get to do 1 damage to a character they control. But at the same time, yeah, specialists are getting Pierce 2, but with those 2 cards, base cards in play, blue actions cannot be played by either player for turn. With goo, black battle cards cannot be played by either player for turn. So you're now putting yourself into a corner where 2 types of battle pip cards cannot be played by either player. So now you're restricting to only like white, green, orange, and cards that can be played. Or if someone has other homemade cards with the red pip, I'm not using the red pip, etc., etc., that can't be played for turn. So, but what if I have a hybrid pip color and I try to play it? Well, it's also black, it's also blue, if it's a black and blue hybrid. So if it's being played, you can't just call the color. You can only call the color when it's being flipped for battle, from what I understand. But if you're actually playing it, it's both at the same time. So just like if you have an Autobot Titan Master on a Decepticon body, then yeah, they're at the same time both an Autobot, both a Decepticon. So if you're, you get the gist of how that happens. That's going to be sort of similar, from what I understand, unless I'm wrong with that, on how hybrid pip cards being played for turn. What color is it? Do I get to call it? No, they are actually both at the same time. But if it's being flipped for battle, that's when you're allowed to call it, unless I'm wrong. So let's go with that. So in the meantime, we just went over Solar Needle, Tar Pits, and Time Warp. We kind of went back and looked at the Solar Power Station for a bit, as well as goo in the Experimental Research Lab for examples. We'll see you next time. As always, thanks for being here. Throw scraplets at the like button. I'm way out of time. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Don't have a good day. Have a great day. And as always, Autobots, flip out and let's roll for it.